I can see you well. I can see Ramanujam well. I can see Saurabh there, Mohan there, Meenal ma'am I saw for a minute.
Yeah.
Meenal Kavli, Mohan Kumar is there. Okay. How many have logged in?
Sir, nearly 55 people were there in the earlier session. They took a break. I think now another 30.
30 plus are there.
30 plus are there.
Okay, wonderful. So as and when you want me to, I'm sure you do a right level of introduction and all that, then I can start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I can speak for about 15 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And then we can have a little Q&A?
Yes, sir.
Good, wonderful. What are the major items Ramanujam have covered?
Sir, today about the introduction to green buildings. What is a green building? Why it is required? And that is the topic. Yes, he is there.
So mainly so far we have addressed only about climate change and how it is related or connected with the our green building. How a green building will address the global issues of climate change.
Oh, very good, wonderful, wonderful. We'll build on it now. I can take a little more than 15 minutes.
Yes, sir. Sure.
The floor is all yours, sir. It's a great honor that
When is your next session, Ramanujam?
Tomorrow same time for the next.
Oh, then okay. So it's a little open-ended. So Mr. Vijay Haliyal is also there. So I'm just seeing the names of people who are there.
Yes, sir. People from Lucknow joined. People from Kanyakumari. SSN Janani has joined.
Yeah.
That girl secured IGB pin in the final year. I hope you have spoken to her recently.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, she has also joined.
Mr. Mohan Jain is also there.
Yes, sir.
Hello. How are you, Mohan?
I'm fine, sir. How about you, sir?
Good. Sorry, I couldn't join at the original time. So join now.
It's okay, sir.
After Mr. Ramanujam's presentation. Good. Mr. Murugesh is there from Coimbatore. He's joining. What are you doing, Mohan?
Sir, I am a civil engineer. Presently, I am working as a deputy project manager in a construction company.
Where?
I am working in a construction company in Kerala.
In Kerala. Where in Kerala?
Find a name. That's why.
Trishur.
Yes.
Building construction or infrastructure construction or what construction?
Roads.
Roads. Okay. Infra construction. Okay.
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sure you'll love to interact. I'm incidentally now in Trivandrum.
Okay.
So,
I am from Kottayam.
Okay, you're from Kottayam? Wonderful. Kottayam proper?
Yes, proper Kottayam.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you.
Can we start, sir?
Yes. Please.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely
large group, we are all waiting. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm ready. Anytime you people are ready.
Yeah, Pallavi, you can introduce sir and to the audience. Yeah, Pallavi is the final year student and she is pursuing her studies here with CMTI and she is going to introduce you to the audience in detail.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for joining this program. myself, Ashok Kumar, you know very well, and I am asking my colleague to introduce. Thank you. Yeah, Pallavi.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to one and all present here. Welcome to today's session. I am Pallavi B, Civil Engineering graduate from Guru Nanak Dev Engineering College, Bidar. I am presently a student at CMTI. On behalf of Construction Management Training Institute, I welcome you all for today's session. Construction Management Training Institute is a professional organization which is working towards development of construction professionals through structured training program and by the experts from the construction industry. Construction Management Training Institute is founded by Engineer S.G. Ashok Kumar, who is a seasoned project manager professional having strong expertise in project management and worked for leading companies like L&T, JMC, and many more. CMTI has strong advisory boards with experts from the industry. Construction Management Training Institute has trained 5,000 plus students on various training programs and placed around 1,000 plus engineers across India on various domains of constructions. CMTI is also associated with various professional organizations like ACCE and IGBC. Today we are greatly honored to have our sir, Mr. Vasudevan Suresh sir, for today's session. He is a man with so many credentials. Sir is presently a national chairman of Indian Green Building Council.
Yes, please continue.
Okay, sir. Sir, as I said, sir is a national chairman of Indian Green Building Council, and sir has done his engineering from Anna University, which is in Chennai, and he's an experienced over 55 years in housing, urban development, infrastructure and real estate sector, and sustainable development. Sir was former chief managing director of HUDCO with all-round growth in housing, innovative infrastructure development, use of appropriate technology applications in the building environment. Sir is the chairman of Confederation of Indian Industry, Indian IGBC or Indian Green Building Council. He is a chairman of IGBC Green Cities Rating Committee and also chairman of Bureau of Indian Standards Housing Committee and also vice chairperson of National Building Code of India and as well as a member of Smart Cities Committee in BIS. Sir has received or sir has held many positions and these are as follows. Sir was a president for Good Governance India Foundation from May 2017. Initially, sir has started his journey of being a junior engineer at Tamil Nadu Public Work Department, Madras, from January 1965 to May 1966. Later, he continued his engineering profession as an assistant director in Indian Standard Institutions, New Delhi, from May 1966 to January 1974. Sir has also been a deputy director of Indian Standard Institutions, New Delhi, from January 1974 to January 1979. Sir was a manager of project appraisal at HUDCO, New Delhi from January 1979 to July 1983. Sir has also been a regional chief, HUDCO Regional Office, Bangalore from August 1983 to June 1988. Sir was also a zonal chief of HUDCO Regional Office from July 1988 to July 1989. He has also been an executive director of HUDCO Southern Zonal Office from August 1989 to June 1991. Sir is a Director Corporate Planning at HUDCO Corporate Office from July 1991 to October 1996. Sir was also Chairman and Managing Director at HUDCO Corporate Office from 31st of October 1996 to 5th of June 2002. Sir is also an international consultant in housing and urban development for national and international agencies for ADPC, ADB, UN Habitat, UNDP, UNSIADR, and state government from June 2002 to till date. He is also General Director at Good Governance India Foundation 2003 to 2005 and is now an advisor of it. Sir is also a Director and Chief Executive Officer at Aaron's Goldsop International Limited from April 2005 to December 2007. Sir was also a Principal Executive Officer at HIRCO from January 2008 to May 2012. And moreover, Sir was also a director at HIRCO Project Companies from June 2012 to May of 2017. He is not only being a director, he is also an advisor at Good Governance Indian Foundation from the year of 2003 to 2005 and again in the year of 2008 to April 2017. Presently, Sir is a president of Good Governance India Foundation from May 2017. As Sir has held many positions, he has also received many awards and recognitions. Some of the he has, on an average, he has got a total of 16 awards and recognitions for his wonderful works. Sir was being awarded as Best Chief Executive of the Year by the National Foundation of Indian Engineers as a part of NAFEN's annual Corporate Excellence Award 1907 in the year of 1997. He was also awarded for Distinguished Alumnus Award by the Alumni Associate of College of Engineering at Anna University in 1998. He was also awarded for Eminent Engineer Award 1998 by the Institution of Engineers, Roorkee Subcenter 1998. Sir has also received an award for outstanding contribution in the field of housing and infrastructure development by Rajdhani Estate Promoters and Building Associates 1998. Sir has also received India 2000 Millennium Award by International Associates of Education for World Peace in 1999. Sir has also received IMM Millennium Top CEO Award for Excellence by Institute of Marketing Management in January 2000. Sir has received awards for Man of the Decade Habitat International Award by Visitex Foundation, New Delhi 2000. He has also received for award for Griha Nirman Maharishi Award, which is given by the instituted by Pune Construction Engineering Research Foundation and Builders Associate of India, Pune in 2000. He has also received the award for Ugadi Puraskara 2001 for valuable contribution in the field of urban development awarded by the Delhi Telugu Academy, New Delhi. He is also the Man of the Year. He was also called as the Man of the Year in 2000, instituted by the business publication Econ Star 2001. He has been also awarded for Architectural Engineering Award 2001 by the Institution of Engineers, India, Delhi State Center in 2001. Sir is also awarded as Dr. M. Channa Reddy Award for Infrastructure Development by the Federation of Doctors, Hospitals and Healthcare Industry in 2002. Sir has also been awarded with Engineer of the Year 2006 by the Institution of Engineers in the year of 2006. Sir has also received an Industry Doyen 3rd CIDC Vishwakarma Award 2011 by Construction Industry Development Council, New Delhi. Not only this, he has also received an outstanding contribution for real estate development, which was awarded by CWI 2013 in the year of 2013. He has also received 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards, which are as follows. IBC Lifetime Achievement Award, which he received in the year 2014 by Indian Building Congress, New Delhi. So I welcome you, sir, for today's session, and I request all the participants to mute. And if you have any queries, you can go in the chat box and our team will be with you to support you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good. Thank you, Pallavi, for the very long winding introduction. You could have just told me in one word that B. Suresh, Chairman IGBC is joining. Thank you very much for all the good words. Nice to hear your word, and I'm glad that already you had a good session with Ramanujan starting off in the session. I could not join at that particular point. There was a small technology glitch at the time, and I'm glad I'm able to join now. You're a very distinguished set of participants covering architecture, civil engineering, as well as consultants and people from the faculty and various other background. And I'm very happy that the CMTI has initiated this great program on the green building initiatives, a long program in continuation of the series of programs CMTI has been doing for many years. I'm aware of the good work that CMTI has been doing under Ashok Kumar's leadership there. Nearly 5,000 people getting trained is not a small job. And more importantly, they have been able to give the finishing school type of education for our young architects and young civil engineers to get them into practical orientation of based on whatever they learn in the academics, to get the practical on all aspects on making them fit to deal with various assignments in the built environment sector as an engineer or architect, etc. And What is equally interesting is that over 1,000 of those people are already had good placement. So the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Therefore, if the training is good, the companies and organizations who would like to find out those candidates who's got the right level of practical aptitude and practical exposure, and to more importantly, to convert the know-how into show-how. That's more important. They all want, I myself have been in this 56 years of my experience out of my graduation, and I've always been telling the way in which the education has been going on. We start learning only when you come out of the college most of the time. Excepting, of course, in our batch, 60-65 in Guindy Anna University, we had quite an amount of practical orientation at those particular points. But the moment the course became a 4-year program, it became predominantly a theoretical level, and start seeing either cement or steel or sand or brick or tile or dealing with the construction site or standing over there to what is to be done, or opening your drawings, and all these things were not part of the curriculum. So that really needed a good initiative like what CMTA is doing, and that really brings a good amount of professionals who can be directly absorbed by the industry, because they want people, industry is growing in a big way. India's population is growing in a very big way. It was 100 crores in 2000, you're all aware of it. We are only about 32 crores at independence, 100 crores by 2000. We became around 121 crores by 2011. That means we added about 20 odd crores in just about 10 years time period. I hope you all know that. And we are now around 100, today is about 137 crores. That means we would be becoming around adding at the rate of 2 crores every year. 2 crores of people are getting added every year. That means in a 20 years time period, we are adding about 40 odd crores population. Whereas the whole country's population in 1947 was only 32 crores. It took 5,000 years to become 32 crores. And in 10 years, 20 years, we are adding about 40 crores. And that's 1.5 times that of the United States of America. So with that type of phenomenal amount of increase in population that we are having, it's also it's also the shift between the rural to urban. There's a movement towards going towards urbanization. More than 50% of this 20 crores added during 2000 to 2010, they're all into the more than 50% are in urban area, remaining in the rural area. And India will get urbanized, will get off the order of 40% urbanization very shortly. And we are having at present maybe of the order of around 50 crores now in the urban area. We'll be about 60 crores by 2030. That's a very major increase there. That means what it means is that you require a lot of housing to be done, a lot of building development to be done, a lot of hospitals to be done, a lot of hotels to be built, a lot of IT parks to be built, a lot of industries to be built, a lot of malls to be built, all type of building construction of a very large nature, which are all either employment generation initiative or leading towards other various infrastructure services required. Along with that also is the infrastructure construction coming on roads, water supply, sewerage, drainage, etc., etc. So we are in a situation where the India's needs for the population increase, urbanization increase, calls for more and more of building construction activity, more and more of infrastructure construction activity, and therefore we require the right level of professionals to deal with all these development in the proper way. Number one, that's the most important thing. The need for having good, competent professionals with practical orientation to deal with the work. Not the way we are getting from most of the colleges, either architecture schools or engineering. Actually, the architecture school has got the 6 months attachment in the final year in the architect's office is good aspects that is missed actually in the civil engineering. But even then, that is not. It's not enough that you practice only in an architect's office. But what you require is on-site experience to deal with the project is more important on that. When so much about the construction is going to happen in this country, it's equally important that we do it all right. We should deal with all the resources in a right way. What are all the resources there? Land as a resource is very, very important. And all the building materials become an important component. And all these building materials, where do they come from? They're all manufactured building material over there, except in timber, which can be naturally grown over there, forests which have been built over the years. From that, we can get timber for doors, windows, some rafters, purlins, other related applications which you have in most of the housing area. But otherwise, if you take aggregates can be ones, and fine and coarse aggregate can be a natural one coming out of the situation there. But cement, steel, bricks, all other components on what is the place? And around 250 building materials are needed to deal with this particular one. And this is an important component now. Suddenly, we never used to worry about the nature of building materials, but suddenly we're all worried about the nature of building materials because the fact that the amount of energy needed to produce bricks, energy needed to produce cement, which will lead to concrete, or steel, or glass, or aluminium, or various other things, is an important component called the embodied energy. It was never talked about till recently there, but now they will all talk about that particular thing on the energy component that is required in the building blocks that you use over there, then the nature of buildings that you build with those particular blocks, and then more importantly, what is important is the amount of operational energy, the nature of buildings that you make over there. Is it an energy guzzler? Are you saving energy, or are you making energy efficiency out of that particular one, or etc. comes over there? Why are we all talking about that? I understand climate change was talked about by Raman. I briefly asked what he covered over there. I hope you're all aware that we are in the 5th year after all the 193 countries of the world. All of you should read that. It's very necessary that there is what is called Sustainable Development Goals to the year 2030. SDG 2030 is a very, very important document which affects all of us. This was approved by 193 countries all over the world in the United Nations in 2015 September. And it's very important area where they want every construction, every development, every activity that we do over there is sustainable. That means, be it in terms of the energy that we use, or the water that we use, or the waste that is to be disposed of, or the building materials that we use, etc., all has got to be sustainable from the point of view of your own natural resources or manufactured resources in a large way. And therefore, 5 years are already over. 2015 to 2020 is over. We have just started 2021. Today is the 20th day of January. And you got to do 10 more years coming. And that is very important because this aspect has been recognized by the National Building Code of India. I do not know how many in this group sitting in this particular audience there are fully aware of the provisions of the National Building Code of India. And that's a very important document. I had the pleasure of being associated right from the first version, 1970, subsequently 83 version, the 2005 version, and now the latest 2016 version. You can be very happy and proud, like the Gaba incident yesterday, of being proud being Indian. India is the only country where, based on Sustainable Development Goal, the National Building Code of India 2016, I said September 2015 was when the SDG goals were decided by the United Nations and 193 countries. And in 2016 National Building Code, the new chapter got added called Approach to Sustainability. And those who have not seen it so far or heard about it but do not know the detail, I would advise each one of you to kindly go through part 11 of the National Building Code, which is called Approach to Sustainability. It talks in terms of what should be the approach towards construction and other activity on the built environment, on dealing with all the resources of nature. In short, it talks in terms of integrated energy management, integrated water management, integrated waste management, carbon footprint reduction, as well as embodied energy reduction, as well as other facets there. Out of 17 odd goals which are come over there, about 11 goals are related to only built environment. Therefore, you as architects and engineers, you all should be very concerned, and you all should be very very much aware of the provisions of the NBC Part 11. Why I'm trying to say all this is because that means there is already a regulatory framework available in construction activity to do sustainable development in a large way. And one of the important components of sustainable development is also the way in which you do your business of, that means your planning stage, in your design stage, in your construction stage, in your commissioning stage, in your operation stage. You got to see all these resources are optimally used, efficiently used, and also economically used. And it's very necessary that if you do that particular thing, you will be dealing with because the population is phenomenally large, increasing much, much larger than the pace that this building is getting added there. So therefore, the resource, be it on the materials or amount of water to drink or the energy that you require to keep it going, or the transportation issues, etc., all has got to be done in a very calculated methodology. The green building movement obviously is a natural response to the need for sustainable development. Even though sustainable development was talked about even earlier in some of the context there, but then the real impact that it came to mission mode through the Sustainable Development Goal came in 2016. But IGBC itself got started in, that is the Indian Green Building Council, where I am the chairman, where I am associated right from 2000, beginning of the IGBC, where I was the chairman policy and advocacy in earlier years, and subsequently taken over as the chairman of the IGBC. We started in 2000, very important year under the CII, the the green building movement in the world over, were only just about 8 years, 9 years old at that time, 2000. Maybe BREEAM in UK was started a little earlier, the first one to start that. The US Green Building Council's lead rating started maybe by about 1994, 95. They had a head start about 5 more years than us. So therefore, when we got into the green building movement in this country, we were the only one in the country dealing with that. And from that particular point of view, there's a major thrust that has happened into how IGBC has emerged as one of the leaders in the world for green building movement. There's what is called the World Green Building Council, like Indian Green Building Council. Every country has got a green building council, and like the US Green Building Council, like everybody, Singapore Green Building Council, Chinese Green Building Council, Hong Kong Green Building Council, Australian Green Building Council, etc., etc. And there are 70 such countries having that. We are a very active member of the World Green Building Council, and they're all trying to find out on the rating system that is there. How do you rate buildings on, how do you assess that any building being green or not being green is through what is called the rating system. So the Indian Green Building Council's rating system is very popular because we started from 2001, though initial years, 1 or 2 years, we started from the basic start of either the BREEAM initiative or the US Green Building Council initiative through the lead one. But immediately we found out after 2 or 3 years, this won't help us because they're all okay for those countries. India is a subcontinent by itself. Subcontinent is a not just like a very major country with 1.4 crores, 1.4 billion, 140 crores worth of population very shortly going to be over there. And we have got our own climatological requirement of temperature, humidity. We have 6 geoclimatological zones available in the country. And India is an area where 95% of India, we get what is called the clear design sky. Surya Bhagavan is blessing us with 95% of the time period. Whereas all the European countries and UK and even the US, they are dealing with the standard overcast sky. I hope you know that. What's the standard overcast sky and a clear design sky. So all the rating system are based on those particular requirements there. So if you wanted to use any one of the other rating system, they require what is called a surrogate city there. If you want to do something in Bangalore, they'll find out which is the surrogate city available. Is it Boston, or is it going to be some other city over there? Or similarly, we don't want to do that. So we Indianized the whole thing based on India's climatological requirement, India's temperature, India's humidity, India's rainfall, and also the 5 geoclimatological zones. So all the rating system of the Indian Green Building Council, therefore, after initial years of starting with the USGBC, are now Indianized. And also, most important point I want to indicate, you should all know it. In India today, in addition to the Indian Green Building Council dealing with the rating for the green building rating, you also have the green building rating of TERI Graha. It's done by the Energy Research Institute. Previously it's called Tata Energy Research Institute. They had a rating called Graha, started in 2008, 8 years after IGBC, and they're also doing some work. And then the USGBC with the lead rating, LWD rating, Leadership of Energy, Environment, Design rating, are also operating not only in US but other parts of the world. They are also having that. But most important component is that IGBC is now the most popular one, not only from the point of use over there. More than 92.8%, nearly 93%, let's say, of all the green buildings that are rated in this country are under the IGBC. It's the balance 7% rating, 7.2% to be exact, are being looked at either partly by Terry Graha or partly by the US Green Building Council. You also have a new one added very recently called ASSOCHAM GEM rating. There's nothing wrong. Let as many groups come over there. It is just like you want to go to the commercial market, you want a rating of your product over there. You want a CRISIL rating or a CARE rating or ICRA rating or Standard & Poor rating. Different ratings are available to know where your particular product is. But IGBC rating has become most popular. Why? Because we are the only one who have got the maximum number of rating. Today, when I'm talking to you, we have 28 rating system for the green building. Unlike many of the other countries over there, they have 5 or 6 rating. I will not deal with the an office building or an IT park. The same one I'll deal with a hospital building, no way, or a hotel building, or a school building. They use the same rating system for all category because the amount of energy used over there, the amount of water that is used over there, the amount of waste being generated in each of the building, each are different depending on the use and occupancy of that residential building, another one. So different asset class of buildings are there. So we have these ratings available for differently, and these have been very popularly rated in the sense that these are continuously being looked into to make upgrades. If you have version 1.0, which has come maybe in 2005, we would add a 2.0 version later, and some of them even 3.0 version. The latest depending upon our experience on the subject. For example, residential building rating is an interesting one. We are the first one to come in residence. Even USGBC did not have residential building rating at that time. We came as early as in 2007 when Graha started in 2008 over there. And you are very happy that today, under the IGBC Green Home rating, we have done as much as about 17 lakhs homes. 17 lakhs homes, 1.7 million houses, apartments in different parts of the country, or 120 odd cities under the Green Home rating there. The very popular rating. You all should have a look at that. But that is undergone. I told from pilot rating, always start with the pilot rating. See how it behaves, how it's responded, how people, how the builders, developers, consultants, and consumers did, and then based on that, we make the version number 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0 over a period. So that is the 2008 till 2020 now. We are now in the green homes, which is 3.0 rating. How popular that is. Just like the NBC rating I told you earlier, we had the 1970, then 83, then 2006, and now 2016 version. So that's a type of system. And then one more thing, then the moment we found out that government has come with a big rating for big scheme for the affordable homes for the bottom of the pyramid, the biggest section, the low income and lower middle income, we immediately came to the need of the hour. So we got a new rating under the Green Home rating called the IGBC Green Affordable Homes Rate. So we have a separate rating for the middle and high income and luxury homes or premium homes, and the other one is affordable housing rating, which is the bottom of the pyramid. It also shows green is not for the rich and the mighty, it's equally applicable to the common man. So when and then we were the first one to move from green buildings to the green built environment. It's very important. In the world, even the world, we are the first one to move from building, not one building to be green, that one building, that office building, this school building, this residential building being green. No, we moved from the green building to a series of building plus the infrastructure that comes to a campus, then you come to a neighborhood, then you come down to a township, then you come to a city level. So we have the rating system available for not only all types of asset class of the buildings, but also the one for the green cities rating over there. We are the first. And based on what we have done in the green cities rating, I'm very happy the Australian government, who we beat Australia yesterday. So Australia, physically mentioning, they immediately started getting their green city rating based on the IGBC rating on the green cities. And you'll be very happy. Large number of the smart cities in the country, as well as the new townships which are coming in the private sector, as well as the Amrut cities, which are over 1 lakh population. I'm sure you must be hearing all these words. What does Amrut mean, etc. These are not time for me to open out there. I'm sure we'll do it later if need be. And are all be adopting this. We have done Also a rating exclusively for the greenfield city, that means new land, new development, new township like Amravati, new capital to come over there, or a Dholera new township to come over there, or a Mahindra new city to come, or a new Naya Raipur to come. They're all called the greenfield project, new green land, new planning, new development. But that's not smart cities. Are all the 100 smart cities are existing cities. They're all brownfield cities. So we got a rating identified for the brownfield cities or existing cities. So therefore, our response to the need for the green building rating was instant, coming immediately as and when it came over there. Like for example, on the housing side, I indicated like hospitals were a major thing. Nobody has a hospital rating. They use the same commercial complex rating like an IT park. They use the same thing for hospital. No way. We are the only one who got out 5 years back the healthcare rating over there. And the moment COVID came over there, last 1 year, and the problems that comes in terms of infection control issues and other related components in design, etc., and work from home related issue, the whole changes started coming in a large way, and also putting up new hospitals to come, emergency hospitals on fast track. How do you set it up? So the rating system came immediately. Response was immediate to come on the particular side. So IGBC is a very responsive, dynamic organization, needing the needs of the country, respond to it then and there, and then that's the way we had this rating coming over there. With so much amount of movement of goods and things coming in a large way, more so in the COVID situation there. One of the most important is logistic requirement is logistics parks and warehousing. We immediately got down with the rating recently come out on the particular thing. We hear, I'm sure you'll hear shortly, as you grow along with the green building movement, you start getting into that final level of net zero energy, net zero water, net zero waste, net zero carbon. These are all the four net zero waste coming on that net zero rating coming. Which effectively what it means is that in all the buildings that we do, at least what IGBC does, our idea is that integrated energy management, at least of the order about 30 to 40% saving of energy comes either through passive design, which architects and engineers will do it based on the orientation, other thing in the hand of the architect, how you keep your, depending upon your location and your how in your own design or the particularly you can have the saving being but through passive and active design, active inputs through the way in which your electrical energy is being used over there, either the lighting or heating or air conditioning or lift installation or firefighting or whatever, all those things, or IT use, etc. Now without that you can't, nobody can go forward without the energy being there. So therefore energy saving becomes an important comp. IT parks become an important component. Equally important data centers, another guzzlers of energy. We bring in all those issues in a large way. Now I'm very happy therefore water saving of the order of around 25 to 35%. Energy, I said, is going for 30 to even 40% rating saving there. While you do save, imagine a situation when you have so much amount of energy saving, water saving, and wastewater being recycled, integrated water management through rainwater harvesting, aquifer recharging, wastewater recycling to be done with primary, secondary, and tertiary treatment, reuse of the water in a large way by for 100 uses. No, sorry, not 100. Many uses like weed on flushing or gardening or landscaping or air conditioning system or other processed water with a little more additional process. You can even use for portability requirement, but that you may not require in India at this point. Imagine a situation where all the energy that you need for your particular project is not only saved in a big way, and then you also having renewable energy being brought from outside, either solar or wind, which many of the buildings do have that over there, like the Cochin International Airport. You require of the order about 29 megawatt of energy. They produce about 32 or 37 megawatts of, they increase now 37 megawatt. That means all the energy required, you don't look at the grid energy. Energy comes entirely from sources which are renewable. Then you're able to have a net zero energy building or net positive energy building. So these are details on it. You don't have to waste time at this point of time, because you're in this program. I'm sure Ramanujan is structured it. I'm sure he'll take it forward. Maybe on the last day, all these things will come on what's new in the sector. So we are done with all these particular area, and I'm very happy that it's coming. And today, when I'm talking to you, I have an enormous sense of pride. We started with one building in 2001. our own Hyderabad building of the Green Building, Green Business Center. All of you should visit that in Madhapur. It's one of the finest buildings. The first, even the world platinum rated building at that point of time. It's also a net zero energy building today, because all the energy needed for the building are produced there, and we also give the energy back to the grid. And many buildings are coming like that. And for the 20,000 square feet, we are happy that when I'm talking to you on the 20th of January 2021, we are about 7.71 billion square feet of green footprint. 7.71. That means 771 crore square feet. You know, my house is 1,000 square feet, or I'm dealing with a project of 1 lakh square feet or 5 lakh square feet. You can always say 500,000 square feet. Imagine about as much as about 7,700 million square feet of green footprint. About 771 crores of green footprint have been done under the IGBC rating system so far. Over 6,222 projects we have done there, and we are keeping on going. Our own vision is to achieve 10 billion square feet by the year 2022, and that's going to be by just 2 years from now. By the time India becomes 25 years of independence, we would also be crossing the 10 billion mark. On that day, we'll be number 1 in the world. We are number 2 in the world now. We'll be number 1 in the world on the green building rating. We're only one country, because even USGBC, when they do it, they deal with not only what they do in US, but also the rating they use in other parts of the world. So therefore, we are talking about what IGBC is doing for India. India's mission to the particular one is what we are discussing, and we are very happy that we'll be working on that. There are 2-3 important things which will make it more popular, and that's exactly what we have done over there. After the National Building Code came, we are in touch with all the state governments to see the green building regulation become a part of your building regulation. That means when you submit your building plan itself, some of those requirements on water, energy, and other one become as part of your process in your planning and design of your building. Very importantly needed there. And many states and local bodies have already incorporated the green building regulation as part of that, number 1. Number 2, many of the states and cities also decided you're making a lot of efforts for making green building, you're saving energy, you're saving water, you're using responsible using waste. Therefore, we are ready to incentivize you. We give you something good. You're going for a green building, I'm ready to give you additional so much percentage of FAR or FSI. For example, some states give 15% additional FSI for a platinum rated building. Our rating is also based on the marks in a 100-point rating scale. If you go beyond around 80 marks or 100, you get a platinum. 70 marks, you get a gold. 60 marks and above, you get a silver. And 50 and above, you get a certified building. So certification, silver, gold, and platinum are various levels. It doesn't mean that all the people can put all the requirements in the same building. But if I'm able to incorporate all that and get to 80 or 100, then I get a platinum rating coming on that. So therefore, they are identified. If it's a platinum, you get 15% additional FAR or FSI. If you make a gold, you can get 10% extra, or 5% if it is a silver rated building. Some states have decided to give incentives through your property tax. This is a one-time level. The property tax, year on year, you get that. So you give a reduction in the property tax in a very large way. It's a very important one. Of course, everybody is not getting 15. For example, some states give only 10% extra. For example, in Maharashtra recently, they had done 7%. 5% and 3% extra for green building in a large way. So incentive by itself is not needed, because the building itself is going to give you the saving, and your energy saving is going to come year on year. You don't have to incentivize, but to give a little boost in the initiative for the green building movement. Today, when I'm talking to you, maybe 5% of all the building in India might be going green. The remaining 95% are non-green. Or even if it's green, they would not have come for certification, because the building regulations would need it, the National Building Code would need it. So you've done it by design, because of codal requirements and other requirements, but not come for the rating on that. But my own assessment is that, having been in the sector for over 5 decades, and in the green building movement the last 20 years time, we achieve the Sustainable Development Goal to the 2030. At least 35% of all the buildings that we have in the country will definitely go for the certification. A compulsory system is going to come. This has already been indicated by the Honorable Vice President of India, Venkaiah Naidu Sahab, during the Green Building Congress in October 2020. It is also indicated by the Honorable Prime Minister on the same Green Building Congress when he gave the message of going green is a very important aspect, because for them green means sustainability, green means saving water, saving energy, saving the nature, and the green cover being increased, the greenhouse gas effect or the climate change issues, which I think Ramanujan mentioned about the temperature increase, etc. How do you bring it down in a large way through what is called the heat island effect reduction over there? So greening is an important component equally on that. There are various parameters which go into the market. It's like a question paper. To make it simple for those who are attending for the first time, it will be a question paper covering maybe around 8 or 10 subjects over there. For each of them, maybe of the order of about 15 to 20 marks or something like that. If you answer all of them all correct, then you'll get 100. But if you answer some of them correct, you get maybe around 80 marks. If you don't at all attempt some details of, say, saving reduction, you may get lesser mark. So you should be able to get details of it. I'm sure Ramanujan will give it in the next few days time period. And we ourselves are geared up to deal with this particular aspect to see how best this goes to large number of people. Therefore, we started on this green, our own chapters, which are there in about 27 states. We have it. Then as IGBC student chapters in all the architecture schools and engineering colleges. We are today about 264 chapters, student chapters in architecture schools and engineering colleges. They are a very major one. I find CMTA has done good work in reaching out through various IGBC chapters in a very large way. We are also in touch with through MOU, through the CREDAI as well as NAREDCO. They are the real estate builders, big group there. And so that the real estate development people also decide to go for green. And these are all from the supply side. Architects, engineers, builders, developers, all from supply side. But demand side is equally important. Now, demand side is becoming now a big pressure. If Microsoft wants to come and take an office, first question is going to ask is your building green? The question is coming from the client. Why? Because they want to ensure that the saving in energy comes, saving in water comes, and the overall quality of life is good in the particular building over there. Their environmental quality is good. So the pressure from, and now the regulatory framework is going to bring it, because it's going to be part of the rule. So one is going to be from the demand side, supply side, the third is regulation side. So increased level of green building and applications also coming in all the, from all states, and that's also a very good sign. Maybe initially we must have done, it is the first 1 billion rating, 1 billion or 100 crore square feet to be done. If it took about 15 years time period. Now to add another 100 crores, it won't take in 1 year. That's a pace at which we are going in that. And we also have a good system for IGBC accredited professionals, namely architects, engineers, MEP of professionals, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, firefighting, all the MEP of professionals in a large way who deal with also deal with the green building consultant. We have the IGBC accredited professional exam. Each one of you are participating in this particular program. All of you should take up that particular one. Take my word, ladies and gentlemen, you might be a BE or BTech engineering, civil engineering, or a BR. But let me tell you, the moment you are able to put at the end of your name IGBC accredited AP at the end of your name, your market value straight away goes up by 10,000 rupees per month. I'm talking about even the starting point over there. That's the type of importance that the IGBC AP, acquiring that certification becomes an important. Very easy, not very difficult. If you go through these particular training programs, which CMTA is doing there, and some little initiatives which from IGBC's program, you can take there. Every 15 days, the exams are going on there, and it's an online exam. You can take the exam from your own home. You don't even have to, they don't come and check up whether you're referring a book and writing the thing or not, nothing wrong. If you're able to do that within that 1 hour time period, seeing the question, finding where to look for, the result is half knowledge. So that's the type. The rating is very important. We have about 5,000 IGBC accredited professionals now. So I would also invite all of you to come. Even IGBC along with CMTA would like to see how the examination for all your people can be done. Recently, we did a program where along CMTI, the moment the program, they took exam and many of them could qualify also. So our idea is to say that each one of you get into this movement. The green building will become a way of life over a period of time. As I said, 2001 to 2030 is very, very important. The last 10 years for the Sustainable Development Goals issue, and green building movement with the sound rating, enormous. We have about 35,000 professionals who are working now in the green building movement. I thought you should know it. Are working under various builders, developers, consultants, green building consultants, architectural officers, MEP of offices, large number of builders like L&T who have their own particular group there, or like Puravankara or various big builders like Hiranandani Group. They are our own green building sustainability team is part of their initiative. So the moment you finish that, your degree along with the green building specialization, you're immediately sucked in by the large number of people. It's very rare to have that. Now, today, about 130,000 architects coming out of under the Council of Architecture, around 10 lakhs, 50,000 civil engineers coming from engineering colleges there. What a percentage of them who know green building? I would say, I believe less than even 5%. What percentage of the present number of architects situations in various areas are fully aware of the particular one? So that the number quantity will be good, but in percentage of the total one is lower. My own idea is to see that the number of the IGBC accredited professionals should increase from 5,000 to 10,000 in the next 6 months' time, and to 20,000 by end of December 2021. That's the way in which our own plan is there. So I want to encourage each one of you to see how you take up the exam, get yourself trained on the particular one, and start getting practicing in this particular sector. Well, I have taken much long time. It's a freewheeling talk. Nobody has controlled me to talk. Therefore, I'm speaking spontaneously. It's coming on because I'm in this subject, and I'm not reading from anywhere. I'm speaking from here. So therefore, what all I'm continuously speaking to you will give you an idea of the green building movement. There's a lot of recognition for this particular one coming in a large way, and I want each one of you to take it very seriously. And that's why when Ashok told the program is going to be done not under IGBC or TERI Graha or USGBC or GEM, but under CMTI. I wanted to congratulate him because this is the first time green building training is coming under an agency, not necessarily dealing with the green building movement, but you're dealing with so much of other training on finishing school approach that you have. CMTI is one. That's why I agreed I'll come and talk. And I know Ramanujan well over 20 or two decades in the L&T, and he has been responsible for many green buildings coming from L&T's side. And fortunately, he has got the exposure both for the IGBC rating as well as the TERI Graha rating and other ratings as well. So he's equally, he'll be good. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, all the rating system are going on the same principle. There are about 7 odd principles there, which we'll be getting into in detail. And each one will give different marks. If one is giving for water efficiency 18 marks, another might give 17 marks, or somebody might give 19 marks. And if it's on energy efficiency, even very interesting. On energy efficiency alone, you'll be very happy to know that IGBC itself has got the lowest being 20% weightage or 100 marks to 70% weightage in what? If it is going to be data center, where energy is the most important one, so there the energy is the most important thing where the weightage is because in some other will be 30% coming. But imagine if you only one rating available and use the same thing for a hospital, same thing for a hotel, same thing for a school, same thing for a college, you can understand the amount of difficulty that you'll have when you deal with the single rating or a few ratings coming on that. It's good, therefore, to know that what are the things. My idea is to just give you an overview on the green building movement. It's catching up extremely well. We're becoming popular. Many governments are increasingly coming. Many builders and developers are increasingly coming. Every alternate day you hear about some initiatives on they want to go make the city green, they want to have the green buildings to be made green, etc., etc. And it's good for all of us because you are the next youngster. And I am, especially after Gabba yesterday, I'm totally convinced that the country can hand over to the next generation without any difficulty. And to the next generation of people, sportsmen, who have really made it possible to succeed, as you would have seen, to you don't have to be. So therefore, the next generation generation of young architects and engineers. It was not there when we all learned. We all learned it out of on a learning curve for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. We must have got into this particular sustainability movement. Whereas you are able to get into it right in the beginning. So it's a very positive aspect, and build on that particular foundation step by step. I'm sure by the time you one or two this program certification, the IGBC, the AP certification, and other certifications that you get, whatever, you will also start get layers of new one. Then become expert in the area. You'll get into net zero energy, net zero water, net zero waste, net zero carbon, and other related inputs also will be. You'll start getting specialization in those areas. So with these words, Ashok, I would like to stop, but I'll be most happy to take 4 or 5 questions if any of the participants would like to raise any general issues on any areas of clarification. Sometimes misinformation, disinformation, lack of information, you will have 100 doubts in your mind. Ask it. You won't appear to be, what can I say, foolish or stupid by asking the question. Please ask. If it is in your mind, please ask the question, because you're at the starting point of the particular training program. So you should understand that you might be at a 0 level or 10% level of exposure or 15%. But by the time you reach 100, there are various questions coming on that. So if you have any questions, you can ask that. My email ID will be shared by Ashok. You can also raise questions through my email ID, also can be raised over there. But for the time being, I would like to see whether any one of the participants or Ashok or Ramanujan wants to have any questions to be asked. I shall be very glad to respond then and there. But let the question be very brief. My answer will be immediate. Okay?
Yeah. Sir, I have some questions in the chat box, so I will read some of them.
Who is that?
One, Mr. Vishnu Pratap, he has asked, why can't India make green buildings mandatory and give subsidies over it to encourage?
You don't require it to be mandatory. At present, is recommendatory, because what requires to be, what is to be made mandatory in this country for building safety. The building should not collapse. Earthquake comes over there, landslide comes over there, cyclone comes over there, or flood comes over there, and you don't want people to be buried under the. So buildings on all those things can be mandatory, but these are desirable things. Recommendatory is the present situation, but as I told you, for the way in which it will come, will start getting used over there. It will increasingly become mandatory. When I said confidently, they will become 35% by 2030. I mean it. And as I said, even including that as part of the green building regulation, as part of the municipal building regulation, will also make it mandatory to some extent. But to make a building to be green building, I think we'll have to go a little more way. We're getting prepared for the people, all the stakeholders, the builders and the government and the architects, the engineers, the contractors. Everybody should also get geared up to deal with it. You can't do it suddenly. You've got a phase-wise approach to deal with that. This is the right way. Green building regulation, incentives are already being given. You don't require subsidy for that. You don't require that. Because as I told you, if you are able to save your energy cost by 30 to 40%, for example, an average house will have 3,000 to 4,000 rupees energy bill. If you are able to do that only 2,000, you are saving 1,000 rupees only on the energy side. And imagine that for about 12 months, 12,000, you're saving on your own. So that also brings another important comment I forgot to make it. Many people think that green building makes it very costly. Not at all. It used to be. Maybe 18% was additional cost in 2000. But today you'll be surprised to know, to make a building green, in a residential building, 0 cost, no additional cost at all. In commercial building, where air conditioning is going to come over there, 1 to 2% can come. But what will be the incremental cost that will be coming over there to make, for example, you may not done anything on water. You said it's somebody's job. But if you put your wastewater recycling through primary treatment, secondary treatment, tertiary treatment, to recycle the water, reuse the water, you are talking of different products. One without that and one with that particular thing. So some marginal cost will come. But the additional cost will be more than made up by the savings in water and energy costs and other positives coming in the green building over there. And the maximum payback period is about 6 months to 1.5 years time period. I'm sure Mr. Ramanujan will share some of those information to do that. So therefore, my feeling is that you don't have to make it mandatory. You don't require subsidy or grant. What you require is incentives. Incentive is like a carrot and a stick. A stick is a regulation, a carrot is something for you to go for that particular thing. The initial one, like the solar energy which you wanted to use for the first time, a lot of subsidy used to be given. But now you'll find solar energy is cheaper than your grid energy. So it's become so popular. India is going to become a leader in solar energy, as you would have been reading the Honorable Prime Minister's statement on that. So can we take the next question?
Yes, sir. With your submission, I just wanted to add, because now with ECBC coming into picture, one aspect of green building like energy efficiency is already becoming a sort of mandatory. Am I right, sir?
It is not, let me make it clear. I myself know the ECBC. Energy Conservation Building Code is a document prepared by the Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Incidentally, all the rating system of IGBC are made of top one, the National Building Code of India, Energy Conservation Building Code of the ECBC, of Bureau of Energy Efficiency, as well as Eco-Niva Samhita, that's for the residential building. ECBC does not deal with residential building, whereas Eco-Niva Samhita deals with the residential building also, that also to be green, and also the one with the SHRAE document, as well as other related documents, indoor air quality. We are complying with all that. Just like the IGBC rating system is there, so also is what the ECBC also coming on that. To make it compulsory, you got to make it as part of a regulatory document. Some states have started making their own state ECBC document. Like, for example, Kerala has got an ECBC document, Telangana has got ECBC document, Andhra Pradesh has got an ECBC document. Roughly about 10 states have made that as a compulsory thing. That is, you won't get a building permit. That's the only language people understand. You won't get a building permit unless compliance to ECBC comes. That also is only for buildings more than 110 kilowatt of connected energy. That means the big buildings or beyond a certain amount of area. So it's not become, and incidentally, that is only predominantly for the commercial and other buildings over there, and not all buildings over there. So Ramanujam, now that ECBC has made compulsory, is only partly true. It's an effort going on. And even where it has already gone on, for example, I am in Trivandrum. In Kerala municipal building rules, Kerala ECBC is already being referred over there. But nobody in the local body knows about energy conservation. It's only a thing for the energy conservation team who knows about that particular aspect there. So the practicing architects and engineers who are dealing with that particular, are they aware of the ECBC and what does it mean provision? And then more importantly, all the requirements of the power load will come only when the building is nearly completed. You will never know at the beginning of the construction over there, unless it's a project done by Larsen and Toubro or done by the Hiranandanis or done by DLF or some outstanding good builders that we have like Godrej, who will know the complete load of the electrical load right in the beginning. Otherwise, how will you know whether you will know only towards the end of the building? So these are the practical issues on the ECBC to make it compulsory to make for the building permit issue coming on that. Now they agreed that even if you give a completion certificate stage, if you give the information is good enough, not necessary at the beginning stage. They already agreed. Everybody is agreeing. And the people in the local bodies are fully not aware. So you require somebody in the energy conservation building code implementing agencies to have large energy auditors as well as energy architects, energy engineers to be, that means a new animalist has to become. But one more thing to be told is that energy efficiency, Ramanujam, is only around 25% of green building.
Absolutely.
Green building is energy management, water management, waste management, land management, green area management, all this will come. Whereas ECBC will cover only one issue of energy saving. So that doesn't mean, I agree, that will be one of the routes through which you can go also. Okay?
Yes,
next
sir. Yeah, next question. One by Mr. Harshavardhan Yadav asks, does IGBC have their own codes to follow while building sustainable buildings to guide people towards greener practices?
We go by our own. We go by the NBC Part 11, very important. That's the Gita for all of us. And we go by that particular provisions, which is a very well written document. We should be very happy and proud. India is the first one to get the approach to sustainability coming over there. Then our own guidelines, our 28 guidelines should be good enough. I want you to kindly go through each one of the 28 rating system, and the details are available. What constitute those particular things? Mr. Yadav, if you Harshvardhan ji, आप देख लीजिए वो rating का or 28 rating system का detailed guideline देख लीजिए. They will give all the information required for those particular aspects. Plus, large number of other documents have been brought out at regular intervals. This is 20 years time period, wherein some of these details are also specially covered, identifying the same. Next.
Sir, I have one question, sir. Hello. Srinivasacharyalu.
Introduce yourself.
Who is I?
Sir, Srinivasacharyalu. I have one question.
From where?
From Hyderabad, sir. I am
Okay,
a civil engineer.
Srinivasacharyalu. Go ahead, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I have one small question. Is this IGBC certification for individuals is only for engineers and architects, or it is for any
professional who deals with civil engineer, architect, mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, plumbing engineer, who are dealing with the building development or MEP of background? All people can, including environmental issue person, can get an IGBC AP certification.
Is it mandatory engineering set? Any engineering? No, not required.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Even if you're a science graduate, if you have the aptitude towards all sustainability issue, and if you're able to start dealing, it'll be better if you have an understanding of the built environment. It helps you in a big way. But then, but there are a few accredited professionals who are under, as you said, not under that category also. But it's desirable. Maybe if I may put 90% of the accredited professionals are either architects and civil engineers, and the remaining 10 there'll be MEP engineers, maybe around 7 to 8%, and the balance component will be other environmental science and other background energy specialists, etc. Okay, next question.
Yeah, one question from Mohammed Bilal. He asked, how many firms in India are recruiting civil engineers and architects who are certified green building engineers?
Most of them. The first question we are asking for shortlisting of any company is how many green building accredited professionals are there in a company? This is a question being asked now. Before any new assignment is being given to any new companies there, the question being asked to them is, do you have accredited green building consultants in your one? Namely, either AP, when I say AP, it need not necessarily be IGBC AP, it can be also AP of lead AP under the USGBC, or can be Thierry Graha accredited professional. They have another word for that. You can have that. So how many is a very difficult question to answer, but I would like to indicate that the very fact that over 5,000 number of accredited professionals already come, and of which nearly 2,000 got added only in the last 1 year. 2,000 got added in the last 1 year. So which is it's an indication of the pace at which the rating is, or the AP rating is being increasingly adopted. And I myself indicated our own vision is to make it 10,000 by mid of the year and 20,000 by end of the year, 2021, should give an idea on the demand that's coming, because many practicing architects and engineering companies, consultants are very keen. Many builders are very keen to get the match. So they can be at three levels. One can be at the level of comprehensive planning and design architectural offices, and it can also be at the level of the green building consultants offices. It can all be in the MEP of consultants offices. It can also be in the builders and developers themselves wanting to have in their own office 3 or 4 accredited professionals in their own office over there. And we have a special programs, incidentally, to deal with that, to get into companies which do not have consultants are there and see how many APs are there. If they say no, small number, why don't you make it 10 times more? Make all your architects and engineers in your consultancy company, make it AP. And the response is phenomenally good because they're already in it, and it takes still a little more time to get that AP over there. But it will build up. But to give a number to your direct question, extremely difficult to give an answer. All the leading, one thing is important. All the international companies who are getting big jobs there, either Singapore-based company or Dubai-based company or New York or Hong Kong or China-based companies, Australian companies, etc., who are having work in India, everybody will be having minimum at least 5 to 10 accredited professionals in their organization. Next.
Yeah, the next question is from Meenal Kawale. Why construction and demolition resource utilization gets only lip service in all these rating agencies? It is one of the greatest degrades of environment, at the same time a great resource if it put back into construction.
Yeah, no, not necessarily. I agree. The point is well taken. The waste management, construction demolition waste is an important component, and the IGBC rating does provide this as an important issue. For example, now all the rebuilding going to take place in the Central Vista development in Delhi. All those existing buildings are going to demolish and new buildings are going to come. And you'll be very happy to know the C&D waste, how to deal with the C&D waste. And there is also the Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change. They got the rules for all the waste management regulations available. Construction demolition waste is a very important component, including reuse of the material. You have if you have Mumbai, you have a Godrej having their own companies to produce building blocks out of the various building products which are coming out of construction demolition waste. It's a increasingly large level of what can I say, attention-seeking item, and many are already getting it in very detail. IGBC already recognizes that, particularly as part of our circular economy and waste management. For, as I told, ours is water management, energy management, waste management, as well as green footprint addition. All these, when you take together, this will also come. But I agree that the number of points that you get for the waste management, C&D waste, might be only 2 or 3 marks. Maybe you would do a little more. Usually a massive demolition coming and reconstruction coming, then that will be an important component to work on. But for all conventional building aspects over there, it will not necessarily have the demolition waste. Okay. Any more, sir?
Yeah, one more from Natira Jafisa. She asked, as a soon graduating civil engineering student, how do I steer my career towards green and sustainable building practices?
Wonderful. The very fact you asked the question, you already made it. The very fact you asked that question, you already made it. You asked 2 questions, sustainability and green. That's right. Sustainability is a larger umbrella. Green is a part of the particular component there. It's very easy. You should get into these programs which CMTA does or IGBC does and become an IGBC accredited professional. Immediately, you will suddenly find that with your BE degree and your IGBC, AP or any one of the AP one, anybody in the industry will pick you up straight away first. That your other colleagues will just produce civil engineering degree alone. You can understand. You'll find the difference. You'll come back to me and thank me maybe after 5-6 months later, after your AP and getting your positioning on that. So start getting into it, start learning about it, start reading about that, get to the website of IGBC. A lot of interesting developments are coming in the green building movement. You will find it extremely invigorating, and this movement is catching up like mad. Take my word. It's going to become into a curriculum. Maybe you all missed the bus. Maybe your next batch or the 3rd batch from now, you will start getting that from the 4th year or 5th year. You will, or 3rd and 4th year, you also get the green building movement also becoming a part of your syllabi. What Mr. Ramanujan will be teaching in the next 5 days or 6 days, or IGBC does in a longer period, most of them will come into as an elective or whatever, as part of your syllabus for your architecture and engineering background.
Yes, sir. The last question from Balasubramanian. He would like to know how green building practices can be implemented in paper industry.
Oh, very interesting. Very interesting. The 2 answers I can give for the particular one is the best way to be done is ITC Bhadrachalam. ITC Bhadrachalam, I hope you know, Balasubramanian is one of the leading paper manufacturing group by the ITC group. I hope you're aware of that. And they have implemented large number of these provisions in the building there. Let me tell you 2-3 areas which can come over there. Like as I told you, all buildings are covered under the IGBC rating, and factory building is one among them. And there are 2 types of rating coming. One is called a green core rating and green building rating. Green core rating is done by the CII, not by the IGBC, where they are manufacturing processes like cement manufacturing. Understand what I understand, or the leather manufacturing or textile manufacturing, various other manufacturing. As part of the process, how do you bring the sustainability element into that? So that rating is given by CII called Green Core. That means a green company. That means as part of the process of manufacture, they are utilizing those particular one. Number one. Number two, the other one is the building that you put over there and all the facilities that can contain a factory rating building. Large number of industrial buildings for various production area are also covered under the IGBC rating system. And therefore, your paper industry can cover two components go under the Greenco rating one as well as go for the green building rating under the factory building one. Having said these two since the first time I'm opening out, there is also a third product which is called the Green Pro rating. Green Pro is green products. Namely, there are about 1,500 projects. The cement, the steel, the glass, the boards, paints, etc., etc. They are given a rating called the Green Pro rating. So we have three ratings available. You have the IGBC Green Building rating, you have the Green Core rating, and we also the IGBC CII rating for the Green Pro rating. Over 1,500 products are already rated under the Green Pro, which is also called the Eco certification, Eco Seal certification, which the world recognizes that. So many people want to ensure that the new product, if you want to make a green building, the building blocks that go into that should also be a green product. So green product is the rating is called the Green Pro rating. So you can use that also. And I am going to understand Bhadrachalam does large number of building materials which are also Green Pro products.
Thank you, sir. I think with that question, sir, we addressed all the questions. And,
very good. They can, if there are any more questions, they have not raised it for want of time, or they did not want to expose their thing and why ask a question, etc., etc. Please raise it as a comment. My email ID is simple, vsuresh30@gmail.com. You can all send the questions, send it through CMTI or send it through Mr. Ramanujam or send it directly to me. Okay, I shall be very glad to respond to each of them individually. And wish you, before closing it, let me wish you all the very best in learning. Please see that you got a very structured syllabus. I saw the syllabus very nicely done. I'm sure he will be going into it very minutely with his practical experience he has done in L&T and his own exposure to green building. I'm sure he'll learn a lot on that. I think simultaneously some of the rating system also, Ramanujan sir, you should be able to indicate. I'm not sure. I didn't find detailed one on all the 28 rating system of IGBC.
Yeah, that we'll be sharing, sir, because now we have just covered the broader picture.
Yeah, I saw the syllabus for the next 5 days.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say, they would be interested in which are all the 28 ratings. So in case you want to have a primer on that, I can send it to you. That can be shared with all your 30, 40 participants
Sure,
or participants.
Yeah, sure, definitely, sir. We will share.
That's the only gap which I thought to share with you.
Sure, sir. Sure, definitely we'll share that so that they will be aware that such as each specific typology of building is being addressed in IGBC rating.
Not only building and built environment.
Absolutely.
I told you.
Yeah.
I forgot to make one more thing. It is not only the green built environment as well as the green building. We also got into mobility. Urban mobility is an important component. Mobility is what takes you from your house to your office or your school or your hospital or whatever. So we got into metro rating. And we are the only one having the IGBC metro rating anywhere in the world. Based on that, Singapore Metro and Hong Kong Metro adopted the metro rating. Today, we have got 600 metro stations in 13 cities, which are all under the IGBC metro station rating. You also have the rating system available for the railway stations, which have recently come very popular. Many Indian railways adopting the green railway station rating. Airports, the Bangalore Airport, the Mumbai Airport, the Hyderabad Airport, Delhi Airport, and many airports, including the new Kannur Airport. They're all IGBC rated airport buildings. So, in addition to buildings, built environment, you also have the mobility issues also coming under the rating. So, the 28 rating system will cover these details also. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your joining and making in fact, I would say all the joinees or participants are so fortunate to have you here, to have your such inspiring.
I'm glad it's of value to them. And this requires, as I told, 3 levels of things. We have to have an awareness level. First of all, what is the green building? And the next one is going to the appreciation level. That means not only know what is green building, what are all the features, and start really appreciating its importance so that you will know that want to apply, and the third level is application. So I'm sure in the next, between this 5 days program plus another program that you have, and start getting into job, between awareness, appreciation, application, you'll be able to get into it the next about 3 to 4 months very easily. All the best once again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. In fact, with your motivation and inspiration, now support Ashok and myself, we are planning after this. It is more only like introduction to green buildings. We would like to launch a specific session for training for AP examination itself.
Like Aditya JD is asking a question just now. It's just streaming in. Do you require to be an experienced student or a fresher? Fresher can apply. What do you mean experienced student? Student goes through the 5 years, 4 years study experience in engineering and 5 years in architecture. That's enough. There are many who complete their degree and also get IGB CAP along with that. Just by the way, I thought you should know that. Okay, you can do that. So that's an answer to the question to Mr. Ajay Jade.
Ajay Jade, yes.
Jade, okay. Very good. Please share any further questions. So let me thank Ramanujam as well as Ashok for calling me over, even though we had initial glitch to join, but I am sure that the last 1 hour that we spent together was useful. Unfortunately, that introduction itself took about 4 minutes. That should have been saved. Very long introduction on that. Anyway, they'll get an idea on what I am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. So with that, we will end today's session, and tomorrow again we will join. And thanks for the entire participants for patiently listening to us. And once again, I would like to repeat that you are all so fortunate to have Ashok, Suresh sir with us. We have spent just a long time explaining in detail. In fact, I would say he has addressed several aspects of what we are going to learn in the next 4 days. So frequently, I'll be referring to what he has talked today in next 4 days.
They should take copious notes. They should also do a lot of Google search. They should also get into a lot of referential issues. All can't be given by Ramanujam alone. I'm sure it's very difficult to convey all this in about 4 to 5 days time period. But whatever you give will be a good skeletal framework into which you can keep on adding new dimensions to that. So therefore, most importantly, fundamentals will become very strong to each one of you from that point of view. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You can share. Somebody wants whatever we have been discussing. You can share the discussion. I think you're putting a recording is there, isn't it?
Yes. The recording is also being shared, sir. Being shared with the participants.
So Mr. Bilal wants kindly share the recording. We can do that.
No, recording is being shared, and also I have shared your mail ID also in the chat box so that they can, if anybody wants further, after late thought, if somebody has got a question, they can directly communicate after you.
Yeah, sure. Ashok is also joined. Okay, Ashok.
Thank you, sir. Sorry, Dr. Chandrasekhar was online.
Are you doing a hospital rating one?
No, sir is given some assignments, so I was speaking with him. Just ended the call. Actually, it was scheduled for 4 o'clock, sir. So, just now I postponed, and now I spoke with
Chandrasekhar session.
Dr. Chandrasekhar. I was in a call actually with him.
Okay.
He called me for some.
Thank you. Let's not take further time. All your students, events.
Thank you. Thanks for your time, sir. And CMT is entering into 4th year of operations now, and definitely we will do good service to the people.
Excellent.
Your blessings and guidance.
Very good. I think one or two things we should do is some of those asset class of building, commercial building, hotel building, hospital building, residential building, maybe a mall or a industrial building, rating for those particular things we can easily get. How do you go about? At least the guidelines for each of them are available. I said all the 28 guidelines copies should be shared with everybody. Is available. It's an open book information. Nothing is a nuclear formula. It's all available. So this also is part of your program. If you can do that, that will be directly useful for that.
Yes, sir.
Maybe I'm not sure if the side days you can do that, but yes, overall you should do at least 5 typical buildings, green buildings, how the green building component are incorporated, how are the assets, etc. You can easily do that.
Presently, actually, the SSN Chennai and the BIT Bangalore and SVC, all the students, final year students, we have given an assignment. Mainly, their existing buildings are old. they are actually evaluating the parameters, and they will submit to
I forgot to mention one more. One of the we get very popular because all the things cannot be planned now to make it green. But many buildings, which are older buildings there, which is called the existing building, EB I call it, not NB, a new building. We have a rating system for how to convert existing buildings into green. And there's a rating for that. For that as well as two ratings are available. One for the residential building called residential societies, and the other one is called the existing building rating. How can you retrofit and change the situation of earlier water, better sewerage, better sanitation, better energy? How all those things can be incorporated to make it energy efficient, make it increasingly energy efficient. It cannot be like a blank slate you can write on. Everything you can plan right at the beginning, but you can't do that. Here you have to change it. So that's also another rating. They will be finding it useful.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Janani wants to speak to you.
Who?
Janani.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Hi, how are you, Janani? Doing well?
Fine, sir. Fine, sir. How are you, sir?
Yeah. I just saw you were coming towards the end.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are currently working on that project for certifying our department's building as a green building, sir, associated with CMTI, actually.
Wonderful. Which building is that?
Our civil department's building, sir. We have taken only that building due to all this corona situation. We thought first
Existing
building, sir.
We got to take the campus rating guideline and also the existing building guideline. Both the guidelines, you kindly look into it, and I'm sure you'll be able to do it. It can easily be done. Fortunately, a campus building or a engineering college or whatever, primarily the saving can come under the 4 components there on energy saving, water saving, on waste management, as well as the greening of the whole issue can do it. You can also bring in some also for the heat island effect reduction. Also, you can do something on that. Okay.
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir. We'll look into it, sir.
So wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much, sir. It was nice interacting with you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank
you, sir. Thank you, sir. I have recorded this video. A lot of students will watch, sir. I will share in student groups.
Okay.
Thanks for your wonderful time. I am happy that the keynote speech, which was scheduled, it was for only 15 minutes. Now you took more than an hour. It helped a lot of students. And
it's like a blessing in disguise, to have the technology glitch.
And
good, very good. I'm very happy.
Thank you, sir. We are planning this same program every month. One program we are going to conduct in CMTA for the green building professionals. It's a 5-day workshop. Whoever is interested, they will go for next level of training also.
Okay, very interesting. Very interesting. Yes, we should all get in. I find the way in which questions were coming one after another. Since I was talking, I was not looking into the chat box over there. So when I asked questions, so many of the questions, I'm now reading that. And many people have responded in the last 3-4 minutes, one after another. I'm just seeing each one of the particular thing. Wonderful. Very good. Probably civil engineers and architects who have good amount of knowledge in green building construction than those who just don't have knowledge in green. What are the probability? 100% possibility. And how many firms in India are recruiting civil engineers? They are doing. Many are doing. Good. Wonderful. Thank you. Let's at the end of the day, let's wind up for the day. Thank you. I'm leaving now. Best wishes to everybody.